right? If you have a question for Bill, go ahead and use the raise hand tool. I know we got some new people joining us. If you need access to record, let me know that as well. Go first to Michelle Kaufman. Still on mute there, Michelle.
There we go.
There we go.
Hey, Bill, sorry. I know, I'm old. I'm old. Um, I wasn't, unfortunately, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't go to the games because it's the one game that the one game that I couldn't go to. Can you just talk about what it meant to the team to win after so many struggles? And do you think the team did something different that night, or was it just a culmination of several nights of being almost there and then finally putting it together? And just in general, what does it do for the team to have a winning game and a winning locker room after? Thanks.
Yeah, I think if you go back to the SMU game a couple of weeks ago, when we got totally blown away, all got blown off the basketball floor. And then took a trip to California. We got beat badly against Stanford, but some things came out of that game. Some things that we had to discuss and kind of get out in the open. And we discussed those things, and I think we improved. And then you seen the next game is California. We played very well. We were just unfortunate to lose an overtime road game. Then come home to Virginia and fight Virginia, and they get hot. McNeely makes a couple shots. So we were building towards something. Again, the most difficult part of that is staying the course when you haven't had success. But our guys did. They stayed the course and were able to pull out a win on Saturday. The thing that we did differently is we guarded. We guarded down the stretch. We really locked in defensively and got some stops when we needed to, which is something we really hadn't done. So we were very pleased to see that. And again, I think it just gives you hope. We've kind of adopted the mentality of one game at a time, one day at a time. And so I think that winning a game gives you hope. It gives some credence to what you've been preaching, and hopefully we'll be able to build on this.
And if I could ask a follow-up, you said that you talked about some things. I know that after that game, Lynn Kidd was benched after that game. Matt Cleveland did not start that next game. Um, were there issues that needed to be worked out with specific players, or with effort, or what was going on? Were there just chemistry things that needed to be fixed?
Never a question of effort. Never a question of effort. And it wasn't just those guys in particular. We preach every day about attitude, having a positive attitude. Life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you react to it. And we keep trying to get that message across to our guys, no matter what we're going through. And that was basically what that was during that time, is making sure that not just those two guys or three guys or four guys, but that all of us had the correct attitude. And that's something we're going to continue to do. If nothing else, we're going to have great attitudes going in every game.
Thank you.
Adam, go ahead, sir.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
Good.
Good. Getting the first win as the head coach at Miami, just what did that mean to you personally?
Any win's a great win, right? As a competitor, you want to win every game you get a chance to play. But it meant a lot. It meant a lot just to get a win. It meant a lot for the kids because they've been working so hard. To see those guys rewarded was the best part of it for me.
And just how difficult is it? Obviously, the last month and a half without a win, new head coach, obviously with Coach L not being at the reins. Just how difficult is it to keep a team? They're 18, 19, 20, 21, whatever. How difficult is it to keep them all locked in and focused during a run like this?
Yeah, well, that's just the hardest part. You're 18 to 22 years old. It's hard to see light at the end of the tunnel all the time when you're struggling. It's very, very dark in that tunnel. And trying to, again, preach, stay the course, remain steadfast, and keep working becomes difficult at times. But again, to our kids' credit, they just kept at it, kept hammering the nail. We kept at it, and that's the way we've been able to overcome some of the obstacles is to keep working.
Back to Michelle.
Okay. I know I seem to ask this every week, but Nigel Pack, is there any update on his injury? And at this point, do we just assume that he's not going to play anymore? Or do you think, is there any hope that he's going to rejoin this team. I noticed he did not have a boot on at the last game that I was at, but I don't know if that means anything.
He is out of the boot, but again, there's no timetable for his return. Again, not being a medical person, I can't really tell you the answer. Don't even want to speculate on it because that gets me in trouble. But yeah, right now we just again we playing like I said day to day, one game at a time, one day at a time, and so we know we won't have him today, or we know we won't have him on Saturday.
I want to ask one follow-up too. You have a week now to prepare for a game, and you've got a week where your team is on an upward climb, having won that game the other day. How important is that you have a whole week now to prepare for the next opponent and coming off a win? How do you think that that'll be beneficial?
I think it's hugely important for us, for this group to, be confident as long as possible, right? So having a week after a win is terrific. The other side of that is not so good. If you're coming off a loss, especially a bad loss, and you have a week to kind of sit on that, that's very difficult. But because we won, I think our guys will have a lot of confidence, a lot of energy at practice the next few days. It gives us a chance to really prepare for our next opponent. And it gives us a chance to clean up some stuff amongst ourselves, clean up some stuff that we have to clean up as a team also. So it really gives us a great opportunity to get better this week.
Thank you.
David Teal.
Bill, you mentioned the defense against Notre Dame. Marcus Burton had been playing so well, and yet I think in 30 or 35 minutes, he only got off 10 shots. What was the key to that defensive effort?
Well, I really think a lot of credit goes to Divine Ugochukwu, our freshman point guard, who did a terrific job on Burton. He made it difficult for him to catch the basketball. He guarded him, kept him out of the paint, did a tremendous job. And then we started switching. I thought everybody was locked in to how they needed to guard him. We tried to send a lot of guys with size at him. We have some bigger guards. And so I think that was a key to, slowing him down a little bit.
Mike Barber.
Morning, Coach. Obviously, with the change in the ACC, not everyone makes the tournament. How much of a topic is that with your guys? I mean, I imagine you try to keep them focused on the day-to-day, but is that a goal that they talk about at all?
Well, I've heard one or two guys mention it. We're trying not to focus on that. Like I said, we're trying to go day to day, game to game, because that's the only thing we can do. We can't control what's going to happen with other teams. We have to do our best to win as many games as we can and maybe put ourselves in a position to do that. But, obviously, it's a goal. It's something we all aspire to get to. But again, we can't do anything about it. Only thing we can worry about right now is Louisville.
Back to Michelle.
One more. Talking about Louisville, because I'm not sure if we'll get to talk to you before then. What are you expecting from that game? What are you expecting from Louisville? That's a team that also had a deep dive and then was able to come back. What are you expecting from that team on Saturday?
Well, they're a really good basketball team, first and foremost. Before they lost Saturday, I think they won 10 in a row. They were on a roll. Pat's got those guys playing hard with incredible energy. They share the basketball. They're connected on defense. They really push the pace. They shoot a lot of threes. They're a very, very difficult opponent. And now the Yum Center is, as good a home court advantage as you have in college basketball right now. And so it's going to be a tough task for us for sure. Like we've said before, though, luckily we have a week to prepare for it. So hopefully we can figure out some things to maybe slow those guys down. But they're an extremely tough opponent.
Anything else for Bill? All right. Thank you. Appreciate the time. See you next week.